Hello and welcome to Live Fit, Ignite Change. You ever hear of people say, as I've gotten older, I don't have the energy I used to have. I don't perform as well as I did. I'm gaining fat, losing muscle. I'm not thinking as clearly. I don't sleep as well. I have more aches and pains. And they chalk it up to the consequences of aging. But what if it isn't aging at all? And instead, it's a silent epidemic that's stealing our potential. Today, we'll uncover what's really behind it and how you can reverse it and reignite your energy, strength, and focus at any age. Hi, I'm Patrick O'Donnell, and together we are a community of impact-driven leaders who refuse to settle. We rise above the challenges of life to embrace our full potential. We fuel our minds and bodies for peak performance. We live with intentionality, lead by example, transform lives, and change the world. On this podcast, we cover how to optimize performance and health span to thrive in all areas of life so you can live longer, better, with purpose, and make the kind of impact that you're called to make. We'll share the links to the show notes and free resources in the description and at ignite5.com/start so you can discover the 5 steps to ignite peak performance and thrive. Again, that's ignite and then the number 5.com/start. Today's episode was recorded live and covers why most people are living in energy poverty, real stories from our Fit Life members on how they turned energy poverty into energy abundance, getting better with age, and a simple framework to reignite your energy for life. So with that, let's dive in. So this should be a fun one. We'll keep it interactive. We got some folks who are going to share throughout as we go through this, but the topic today is one that's been pretty interesting that's come up, and the whole idea is around the personal energy crisis. And now what this is, we hear about crises all the time, but this one's a little bit different. It's like the silent epidemic that's stealing our potential, and most importantly, is how to reverse it. And so really what this is about is going from energy poverty to energy abundance. Because you'll hear all the time, and it's what we hear quite a lot in working with people, is like people say, oh, as I've gotten older, I feel tired in the afternoons. I have a hard time losing weight. I'm so much slower than I used to be. I can't gain muscle anymore. I'm just not thinking as clearly as I did before. I've had so many aches and pains, and my doctor says I need to go on medication for, you can almost fill in the blank, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, whatever it may be. But what if we took a different approach here? What if it wasn't aging at all? And it's not a time issue that we're getting older, but rather an energy issue. And you look at it as the energy with the way that we are fueling our bodies. And where this comes from, think of the idea of a power plant, right? So a power plant doesn't have energy, it generates it from all kinds of different sources. Like flowing water will generate energy, wind can generate energy. And, we're not all that different. You don't just wake up in the morning filled with energy. You generate it with intentional thought, movement, breath work, action. You don't just have nutrients to fuel your body. You eat the food to give you those nutrients. And you don't always have an abundance of energy at 2:30 in the afternoon on a work day. Do you? Or maybe you do. Some of you are super pumped right now. So that's why I say in here, shall we prove it? Now, I realize people are in the middle of the office. We're not going to make you jump around like we normally do, but just do a little bit. Can we do a little bit of movement? I mean, one of the simplest things, if you can't, like, just bounce a little bit, move your arms back and forth, and then, and if you want to, I mean, go full on. If you're up for it, like just stand up and make everyone wish they were on this call, right? But that's the idea. And then as you're doing that, take some deep breaths. Just loud enough so people can hear, move around a little bit. And I mean, that's the idea. We can generate energy so easily. And that's really what it's all about, generating energy rather than falling victim to all the things in our world that can deprive us of energy. Make sense? Cool. All right. So moving on from there. So if energy has to be created, what if what we are doing to create energy is actually doing more harm than good? And so if you look at the stats, these blow me away every time I see them. Over 70% of adults in the US are overweight or obese. Half have prediabetes or diabetes. 30% of US teens are pre-diabetic and 33% are overweight or obese. Yet 50 to 100 years ago, all these numbers were near zero. So you think what's changed? It's our lifestyle, our food. Or you could say it's how we are generating our energy. So where this leads to and what all this comes from, like you think about it, when we're generating energy, bad energy, or just not doing enough to create it in the right way, you have more stress, less sleep, you're sedentary, poor nutrition, alcohol. Where does that lead? Cellular dysfunction. Everything comes back to the lack of metabolic health. Leads to excess belly fat, blood sugar, high blood pressure, cholesterol, high triglycerides. And why we say we're doing this is because 93% of Americans have one of those five. And that's what we're here to break. Because when people have one of these, they're at greater risk for all of these diseases, cancers, everything that we don't want, obviously. So the idea here is that we can reverse all of this. We can literally reverse aging, and it starts with exposing three myths. So I figured we'd jump into those real quick. Myth one is people say this is just aging. But if you look at the symptoms of aging are quite often our lifestyles and the choices we make. Our biological age does not equal our chronological age. Many people today have a biological age that is much higher than their chronological age. Others, it's much younger. Many of you on this call started when you did those assessments, it was older. Now you've turned it back to younger. Congratulations. I love seeing that. And so if you look at this, there's symptoms and causes. And so typically a symptom of low or bad energy, I mean, technically it's like mitochondrial or cellular dysfunction. Basically what that means, your cells just aren't being given the right fuel, so they're not generating good energy. The symptom, excess belly fat, trouble losing weight, well, it's insulin resistance. Sugar stays in the blood, so your body is in this fat storing state rather than the fat burning. Poor sleep, something's off. Is it cortisol, circadian rhythm, hormones, nutrients? What of those are out of rhythm? Brain fog, you can call it neuroinflammation, which basically is just sugar crashes impacting brain function, aches and pains, chronic inflammation from your body staying in stress too long. So these are the things that go on. But what we talk about is there are three solutions to all of this. First is identify, using that science-backed approach to assess the root cause of issues. When we do this, you've seen our assessments that we use here. And the whole idea, like this person thought they were pretty healthy at 39 years old, but their inner age, their body's age showed they were 49 based on all the different biomarkers. In this case, the high blood sugar, the high liver enzymes, high blood glucose, all the things making them older than they were. And then you go even deeper. And this is from the in-depth epigenetic test that compares these two people on the screen. I mean, looking at this one, it's two 50-year-old men. Patient A is a smoker, has an unhealthy diet, leading to high metabolic age and lung age at 59 years old. Well, let's compare that to patient B, 50 years old, healthy diet, exercises regularly. As a result, decreased lung and metabolic age at 46 years old. And so people come in and you have this very large circle of much older, but when you take on the right lifestyle factors, you can literally shrink it and turn back age. So that is why I say this is one of my favorite parts of all that we do. This is looking really in depth at one of the reports at the pace of aging. They say, gold standard, turn it back to 0.75. This is, I got mine back to 0.71 based on telomere length being younger and all these kind of detailed steps. But the point is here, we can take advantage of the lifestyle factors and make a difference. And so my favorite part, like I said, of our program is seeing people literally turn back aging. So I figured throughout this, I said we'd be having story time. Figured we can start off with the first story. If Jason, if you are up for it, I mean, your mile times are just incredible. You've been winning like the 28-mile mountain trail run. So I mean, obviously you've been a runner for life. You've always been in incredible shape. And now you're just kind of slowly declining, right? And just hanging on. Is that what's going on here? Or what?
No, that's
You turned back your age.
yeah, that's it. And Patrick can say that because Patrick's known me for a while, knows that's not the case. So, my kind of health journey the last few years, actually a little bit over 2 years ago. To Patrick's point, I'd always considered myself a bit of an athlete. Stayed active, but was not in the best shape, and had a doctor's appointment a little bit over 2 years ago that didn't go real well, and knew I need to make some changes in my life. On a personal level, like both my parents passed away at pretty relatively young ages from like primarily from being unhealthy, and like I didn't want that, and so started to make some pretty significant life changes. And at first, like making those changes, being motivated by fear. I mean, fear can be a good motivator short term, but like who's gonna like live their entire life like that? It's not sustainable. But one of the really cool things that happened was, my primary sources of exercise were and still are high intensity interval training and running. And I started to notice after, maybe, 4 or 5 months into it, my running time started improving pretty drastically. And so like, I went from like 9.5 minute miles to 9 minute miles to 8 minute miles. And then I started to get like, oh my God, like now I'm starting to run like better than I did when I was in my 20s. And so like I started to notice it wasn't like a choice I made, but I started to notice like subconsciously, like my motivation like shifted from like, oh, I don't want to die to like, I want to see like how much I can push myself. And so like, that started to be like sort of my why. We talk about why, our why in business and in life. And for, my health journey, really like after about 6 months in, that really became my why. It's like how much I can push myself, like what I could do as far as like just becoming a better, like all around athlete, with a, focus on just like getting quicker. And to get my time down in a few years from 9.5 to under 6.5, like hopefully be pushing 6 soon on the mile time. Like I feel great about it. And so like every time I get out there, like, all right, I'm gonna see what I can do. And so like I just like it's changed my like relationship with exercise in a good way.
That's awesome. Love it. Thank you for the story. Not only the story and how it's working, but like you say, how it's changed your relationship from it's almost scary, like not wanting to die to now being your best, being your peak. And you talk about, I mean, dramatically turning back all kinds of things, turning back aging, your mile time, like literally getting better with age. So congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks.
sharing. It is possible. And so that's what I say. If someone, is worried, like they think that they're broken or something, it's like, no, you're not broken. You just need to identify what's going on and fix it because energy can be reignited. And so that's what brings us then to myth number two, where some people will say, gosh, I've tried everything. Well, really? Have you tried everything? Because a lot of times what we hear is like, I've tried vegan, I've tried keto, I've tried fasting, I've tried jogging. Nothing works for me anymore. But really, what these are can be tactics or fads that you might just do for a little while and not proven protocols that work. So if we look at kind of the continuum here, what you've tried versus what you need, quite often it's either a crash diet or something that's not sustainable versus what you need, a simple nutrition plan that you can enjoy and can sustain and fuels good energy. What you've tried, a new supplement that you heard about from a YouTube ad versus what you need, eating for your nutrients, supplementing based on your individual blood test results. But you've tried intermittent fasting. Great. That can be absolutely awesome. But you need to dial in proper nutrition first. The other side, a workout program may have tried that left you dreading the next workout. But what you need is a program built for your goals and your body that you can stick with and enjoy. It's really not supposed to be that difficult or that hard. This is meant to be something for a lifetime. So that's the whole idea of step number two is implementing a personalized protocol that works. And so I'd love to jump into another story time because Lorraine, your journey's been incredible. And man, that goal to go out to set another one. I mean, I guess I could say this as Jason, like what you've got planned, you've just been fit your whole life, right? Ready to roll? Or have you too been able to to turn it back based on what you've discovered?
Patrick, thank you. Um, yeah, so a little bit of backstory. I haven't always been as unhealthy as I have been for the past like 8 or so years, but I am 58 years old. And I don't know, like maybe about 8 plus years ago, I started having some autoimmune and health issues, which took a long time for them to identify, but it also caused me to gain a lot of weight as well. And once they diagnosed it and everything, I've tried so many different things to lose weight. I have can say that I've successfully lost over 65 pounds. I am not done by any means yet. I still have a long way to go. Um, but the one thing that I've noticed is that I did that not by following a one size fits all kind of program. I when I say I've tried everything, I literally have tried everything, and I tried to. I'm a very by the book person, So I would do it by the book. Everything that I've tried just either made me miserable or I still gained weight. It just wasn't like really for me. And it's not as simple for everyone as calories in versus calories out because every body is different, male, female, age, weight, health issues. It's not always that simple. Like some people like to say, just reduce your calories, just burn more, exercise more, burn more than what you're taking in. Well, it's not that simple. I've got all my journals to to prove that along the way too. But what I have found is that through research, trial and error, finding out what works and doesn't work for me, um, is really kind of how I was able to do it. And what I found for me was that cutting out enriched or processed foods, not completely, because I feel like if I did it completely, I know myself, I've learned my body, and I would be completely miserable. So I do kind of pick and choose so that I can have that level of comfort and happiness and or whatever, so that I know that I'm going to be able to keep up with it. I don't know, eating more high protein. I try to shoot for 100 grams a day. I don't always make it. Sometimes I go over. But what I also found was key for me with the protein was that to try to make it like, I don't know what you would say, real protein, not protein in a bar with maybe some synthetic protein in there or powders or shakes. I try to make it as real protein as I can, whether it be from, meats, vegetables, or whatever. Cheeses, I try to make it as pure protein as I can and at least 100 ounces of water a day, which is really not that difficult. It sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Um, but I found that those things, doing more research on supplements and making sure that I found that it's super important to have natural supplements for my body and synthetic supplements or anything man-made or processed or chemically enhanced that doesn't work for me. And I think that's why my body has issues with enriched products, which I try to keep them out also. So I think those things and having naturally sourced products also for my body has been what's able to help me make real progress. Um, Along with the Fit Life Challenge and this group here has been a constant source of support and help for me. And my next goal, in addition to losing more weight and getting more healthy and fit, is I do want to be able to walk the Camino de Santiago next year. Want to be healthy enough to do it. I think I'm going to be able to get there. 500 miles.
Amazing. Absolutely love it. And thank you for sharing your story. And that's why I kind of wanted you to go in this part because people say I've tried everything. And you did. You were trying so much over and over and over. But man, you stayed committed. You figured it out. And just exactly what you said. Everybody is different. You found what worked for you. And now 65 pounds and about to walk 500 miles on the Camino. I mean, my goodness, congratulations, Lorraine. That is what it's all about. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. I do want to stress though, research and knowing your body is like, it's key. You have to listen to your body. You have to know your body. And try things. If it doesn't work, don't give up. That doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that even though that might work for thousands of other people, it doesn't work for your body and your answer is out there somewhere. Just do your research and listen to your body.
Awesome. Love it, Lorraine. Thanks again.
You're
Definitely
welcome.
listen to your body. Are we having fun with these stories? Ready to move on? Jim, you ready to share? Because oh my goodness, sprint times are insane. And next up, the Keystone Games. I mean, we talk about competing in games in the Olympics when we're in our teens and 20s, right? I don't think you still are in that.
No, I'm not. It's yeah, that's coming up in about 5 weeks or so. So it's I mean, this is something that started I've been coaching track for 15 years up until this was the first year I didn't, and it's really I'd say probably my only constructive hobby. Anything else, riding motorcycles will probably get me killed, but this is something that I enjoy and is healthy and so on. So it's something I've always been competitive and uh, always like to think that I could hang. I still kind of had enough of a base just from coaching and demonstrating and doing all that. That now that I got out, I wanted to get back into it, and it kind of kicked in with joining this group at the beginning of this year, and putting a focus on trying to get healthy. But yeah, I mean, it's the one thing I've noticed on it is in relation to age. One, it's a lot. I've noticed a significant. How do I want to say this? It takes longer to get going, right? Like I've noticed that I know I'm not 20 anymore. We'll put it that way. Like I can feel that it's different muscles I've never felt before hurt at first and or were sore and so on. But the one positive I'll say in going through all this is I had a sense even in the beginning a couple weeks ago when I actually started the intensive like sprint workouts. So 30, 40, 50, 60 meter sprints, 100 meter sprints was it feels like it comes back pretty fast. Like it felt like like once I got up to speed there, I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. I don't know what my time was. I could have been running 14 seconds for all I know, but it felt great. It felt it was like a muscle memory almost. So it's just something that we'll see how things go over these next 5 weeks. Hopefully I don't mess up a hamstring or something and can race. But it's been a fun journey trying to get back into something that I've essentially missed for for 17, 18 years.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah. And it's been a wonderful journey watching it and watching you. And like I said, seeing your sprint times and just not something that people our age kind of tend to do, but like how awesome that you are doing this. And again, don't let age stop you from doing something because you've taken the steps to be able to do it right and essentially turn back aging here and get faster with age. And so that's really what it's about here is implementing a personalized protocol that works for you. That's exactly what Lorraine talked about. Jim's obviously been doing it with his sprint training too. You want to find something that you can stick with and get accountability to make sure you do it. Like everybody's mentioned, I mean, this group coming on here, being able to report on the accountability and have others keep you going. So that leads us to myth number 3 is I don't have the time. But so many people will say, I'm too busy, I travel, I don't have the time, I get off track. I've lost momentum too many times. Well, this really is not about that because it's about doing more in less time. You don't need to rely on willpower alone. What you do need is a better system, and you do need accountability. And so if we were to do this continuum, it's so interesting to be able to see how this is different. Like you look at we call it the high performer paradox, because so many people who are high performers in business, but they're not in health. And why is that? And you look at it, obviously not the people who have shared the examples today, but typical in business, you have meetings where in personal health, you're just winging it. In business, you have key metrics and KPIs, but in personal health, you might not even know what key performance indicators or numbers to track. In business, you have tracking. In personal health, you have no plan. In business, you have accountability. In personal health, you're doing it solo. But again, that's not what this is about. That's why we move into step 3 here. It's ignite. And when you ignite, it's using the basically systemizing the process with accountability for lasting results. That's what we want to be doing here, setting us up for success throughout life. We're getting fit now, but I mean, this is so you can keep performing 60s, 70s, 80s. I mean, so many people are creating their 100-year health vision of what they want to do when they're 100 years old and beyond. And that's what we have to start doing, start training for in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, et cetera. Because like James Clear said, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And so when we talk about systems and people who have basically identified the issue, implemented what worked, ignited the energy, I mean, Teresa, when people come up, like think of it, if somebody comes to the boot camp now and sees you performing, like, man, who is this lady? She's always been in incredible shape and just ready to go, right? Or is that the case? Or again, were you part like the others who have taken the action to actually turn back the clock of aging?
Yeah, yes, honestly, Patrick, it really my story was a little bit um for about 4 years. Couple years ago I was taking care of an older sister with a lot of issues. And I didn't realize how detrimental it was to me, mind wise, physical wise. And I was stress eating and drinking and doing all these wrong things that I really, didn't really even realize I was doing. So once that situation got better, meaning she moved to Orlando and she's with her daughter, and so, where she should be, I was like, I kid you not, Patrick, I got on the scale and I weighed 180 pounds and I flipped out. I flipped out. So that really ignited me right then and there. And then I started with my cleanse, which is the protein with the spinach and the vegetables. You do a 10-day cleanse where basically you eat, egg whites and like just maybe lean chicken. And so that kind of accelerates your dropping of the weight because I lost 8 pounds in those 10 days. But then I approached Patrick and I said, Patrick, I now need to keep him off and I want to continue to lose. So that's obviously when I joined Patrick and FitLife and really, really started getting real results. I've lost over 35 pounds and I've been able to keep it off. So that to me was my biggest goal because anybody can crash diet and lose weight. Anybody. It's the idea of keeping it off. And then like, I haven't really exercised like in a long time. I mean, I'm active and I do 1 million steps here at DLP and stuff like that. So when boot camp started, I was like, oh man, this is fabulous. And I can't even believe what a difference it's made in my daily life. And I'm its biggest fan. And I cannot believe how well I feel after how far I've come from, we've been doing at least like 12 weeks now or something like that. And I can actually do the exercises now. In those first 3 weeks, I could barely do anything, maybe jumping jacks, but that was it. So it's just been life-changing for me. And I'm with Lorraine. What works for you is what works for you. I know my body. I know I can't take chemicals. I know that I eat as pure as I can possibly eat. Like I know what is good for me and what isn't. But taking that first step and sticking with it and changing your actual lifestyle is what worked for me. So
well said. Awesome. And again, congratulations. Like I've said, I absolutely loved watching the journey and seeing you. It's just like getting better and better, as you say. I keep saying better with age, but I mean, it's better through your lifestyle, through everything that you guys have done. And I guess we got one more story here to wrap up story time. But Jason, I mean, you hear these stories about, again, like I mentioned to Jim, it's like teens and 20s. You bench press what? But you said your lifetime PR in your 40s, and now you got another competition coming. What's going on?
Yep. So as Patrick kind of hinted at there, so last year actually through Fit Life Challenge, I set a goal to hit 405 on the bench, and I was 43. I hit that. Coming into 2025, initially my goal was to hit 450 by the end of the year on the bench press. Going through Beyond Success, I kind of decided to take another goal on. So I'm stepping back from the 450 goal, but I am entering my first national physique competition in December. And then the other piece that I would like to mention, and Patrick, do you mind if I share screen real fast?
Yeah, you got it. I mean, stop share. You got it. Got it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks. So the other piece, and it was mentioned earlier, is the intentional thoughts. So you guys see my mirror here? Can you guys see that? So this is my bathroom mirror. So what I've done is I got a dry erase marker and I make notes to myself. Forgive the photography work here, but you can see it's commit to the process for the bodybuilding competition. Did I work hard enough? Be better than yesterday. Then other things, slow to speak, quick to listen, kind of pulling from Beyond Success, and then do it. So it's just kind of starting my day and ending my day on those thoughts of, what can I do to make myself more prepared and be ready to go for the competition. So it's a big deal. I have to drop probably still another 28 pounds and 18% body fat. So it's a big commitment, but my family's on board. I have the accountability, obviously, from this group. And truthfully, the only reason I even started this and I've met my coaches and all this stuff was because of Fit On. I went through there. I had them add my gym to Fit On, requested them to add it. So they paid, now my gym membership's paid for, which allowed me to meet my coach, establish the relationships. And then I have the guys here next to me that are, hey, isn't it time to eat? Because I'm eating 6-7 times a day. So, the accountability piece is just as important to me as the actual fitness and diet portion. So, but it's been a great journey. Yep.
Congratulations. Thank you for your inspiration. I love seeing that mirror art there to keep us going. So, I mean, that's what this is all about. And so many different stories and so many different things. Like, I totally admire your bench press. I am nowhere near that. Don't feel like you have to be any close to that to be part of this group. But you're an inspiration for us there. And really everybody is, from the boot camp to the sprints to the runs to the Camino. I mean, all these stories are here because everybody wants to do something for themselves. We say everybody is different, everybody's got their own goals. You're coming together and using, basically you are generating energy. So thank you for those of you that shared. But really, it's like what we talk about, this personal energy is like your currency for making the impact that you want to make, for the legacy that you will leave. I remember Jason talking about earlier why he started the whole bench press thing was he wanted to lead by example for his son. And so that's the idea, is like so many of us are doing this, yes, for ourselves, but it's for others too. How do we want to lead by example? How do we want to make a contribution to others and impact other people in what we do? Because that's why we look at this, is to wrap up here. I mean, we're not made to coast. You were made to generate, to be your best, to thrive. You're not tired because of your age. You're tired because your energy system is misaligned, and there's a better way. Energy abundance, like all those that have shared today, it's not a theory, it's a choice. And now you've heard how to generate it. And so that is really what this is all about. The invitation is simple. It's identify what's going on inside of you, implement the protocols that work for you, and ignite the life that you want to live. So you can reignite energy, reclaim your impact, and like I've said, be that light to others to help them do the same. So that's really what we got for today. I can't thank you enough for everybody that shared. And I guess we just ask, like, who's in? You ready to go? Let's make it happen. Go ignite energy, right? All right. I hope you enjoyed that and are ready to reignite your energy. If this resonated with you and you'd like to go deeper, there are a few ways to connect. 1, join our community of impact-driven leaders and get access to our free resources and the 5 keys to Ignite at ignite5.com/start. That's Ignite and the number 5.com/start. 2, if you have a question, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and send a message. Look me up there, or the link is at ignite5.com/connect. Or 3, if you're the type who prefers to fast track results, you can get access to our full training for free, where there's also information about working with us. And that's at ignite5.com/training. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I certainly hope you received value from this. If so, please help spread the word. The best way to do that is by subscribing, leaving a 5-star review on the podcast, or liking and commenting on YouTube, and sharing this episode with someone who'd find it helpful. Maybe you know of an organization that'd like a speaker on this topic, or an individual who'd just like advice. It would mean so much to us, and it may just change a life for someone else. That's what's needed to reach more and serve more. So together, we truly can ignite the change we wish to see in the world. Thank you for being a part of it. I hope you make it an outstanding day and go forth to light, love, and serve the world and live the life that you've always imagined.